Meteorologist Shay Gibson with sail flow and leading edge weather, bringing you a final forecast, or maybe next to final as we look at Sunday, but at least a final forecast for tomorrow's event. And so I'm just going to let you know. I talked to Tim Vanu earlier. It looks like with just so much risk in tomorrow's forecast, it looks like things could go really bad at a couple different points. One early morning, and then again midday, early afternoon. The race for tomorrow has been canceled. Okay. There are talks of folks motoring down the ICW, get to Rockville, and then come back on the race for Sunday. So the Sunday race is on. Looks like a great day for racing. I'm going to cover tomorrow's storms just so you have an idea of what's going to be happening or what the potential is. And then also, we'll be talking about Sunday as well. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in, put myself down in the corner. Let's go to the forecast with the SBC surface map here. And going forward, we see that warm front that I talked about the last couple of days. It has been lifting slowly up from Florida. It will increase speed overnight. It's going to get up here sometime after midnight tonight. And then that's when the rain, this swath of rain is going to move in. Looks like things are going to get really heavy between 3 a.m. and about 7 or 8 in the morning from that first slug of moisture. We could see some embedded storms, some lightning, some strong winds associated with that. And then things get a little bit worse as we go through midday. So looking real quick as we go into time, this is Saturday morning with the front lifting up towards the Grand Strand. We talked about that possibly being an avenue where we could get a dry slot, or at least a break in between events to get at least an 8 or 9 hour window, and does not look like that's going to happen because of the amount of instability in the area. So it looks like that's closing in. The swath of heavy rains is pretty wide here. It may not be all concentrated in one particular area, but there is potential for flooding. Localized flooding is the call. The Weather Service office is calling for 2 to 4 inches, which is pretty good amount of rain in the very least. So if we look forward here as we go through time, this passes off the coast into Sunday, and we'll get into the Sunday forecast here. I'm going to leave this surface map right here, and we go to the next Tempest 1. I'm going to use this map for today. So we've had a strong east-northeast wedge today, a nice cool wedge, 20 to 23 knots, and gusting up a little over 30 at times. And it's really odd because we have this cool east-northeast wedge built in, and then all of a sudden tonight it's going to get warm, right? We're going to have that warm front come through overnight hours. It'll be significantly, well, not significantly, but several degrees warmer tomorrow as a result of that. So that's going to be happening. If we look at all the model guidance for winds for tomorrow, before we get into our severe threat, it looks like the low-level jetting potential is still going to be, I think, with all this disagreement and ups and downs and swings in the wind, south-southwest wind lining up with that cold front as it approaches at 18 to 22 knots. The beaches may encounter a little bit of marine layering if the air temperature warms up a good bit. Sea surface temperatures are still right around 60. So not a lot of help if the air temperature gets up into the mid 70s or even upper 70s. And really, if the sun comes out, that will increase the marine layer too. But either way, it looks like the beaches may cap around 16 to 20. And as we get inside the harbor and ICW, those low-level jets will be pushing those winds even harder as they come across land. So, I talked about this with these more stable winds coming up the coast off the ocean. As soon as they cross land masses, these warmer land masses, they settle down, they mix down across these areas, especially up rivers and across the harbor, and they really pack a punch. So you're looking at probably 22 to 26 knots for averages, several ups and downs, gusts well into the 30s, and that does not include the storm gusts that could be in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. But these areas up in the harbor are all subject to it, even down inland along the ICWs if you cut through. So, we have the Stoner River right here, of course, and if you're going to go that way around, that would be subject to some of these higher averages and gusts as well. So just keep that in mind. Here we go for the model viewer. Now, this is the HRRR, the latest run that's showing for here. And as we go through the morning hours, you start to see those storms, showers start to creep up from the south. I'm seeing that on visible satellite now. In fact, I'll pull that over just so you can kind of see what's going on. So we have the southerly flow starting to pull into the area, these little showers just off of our coastline. We're going to see some of these start to train in to the coast from the southeast. Eventually in time, these will come up. That's going to be the first round that we see. The second round is going to be coming in from the southwest as these move in overnight. And so that's kind of what's going on out there right now. As we go through into tonight, overnight, we start to see those showers really increasing from the southwest as we get near midnight. And then the HRRR really ramps things up over us. 2:33 in the morning, we're looking at some pretty ugly and squall-like kind of conditions along that warm front. You know, I wouldn't count out a lot of booms and lightning through the area, and it just gets gnarly. It just stays gnarly through the morning hours around 7, 8 o'clock. Now the HRRR really builds this storm line across the area as we get into 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Let me back out just a little bit here from here to here. So, and this is what I'm concerned about. So this is valid at 14Z, which is 9 o'clock in the morning, which means it looks like the storm line or the aggregate of storms. It's not going to be one particular storm line. It looks like there's going to be clustering going on in the morning. And this is 9 o'clock a.m. Now, the HRRR doesn't go out past this mark. It only goes out 18 hours, but you can see what's developing here. If we look at the FV3 high res, very similar pattern with this, where all that swath comes up early morning, and then all of a sudden we just get kind of overblown over the coastline through the morning to midday hours. Now, behind this, we could get some clearing, but there still could be a couple of storm lines that develop even as we get into tomorrow late afternoon and evening. So it won't be over after that big swath comes through, and that's going to be the biggest risk. The supercell composite, where we have risk for tornadic activity, looks a little bit low all through the morning until we get about 8 o'clock or so. We start to get a little chance for that supercell, sort of that supercell development. It's a little more widespread across the state, but I tell you, looking at the severe risk, the where it was before, it looked like, including all the way up till yesterday afternoon, all of the state was in this slight risk category, and most of that activity, from what the models were showing, were really kind of above this line, right? We were above the low country and really heading more towards the mid-state, upstate level, and over into southeast North Carolina. And now it looks like all of that has shifted along that warm front that's moving up, and the Gulf energy and all that is more focused on the low country, right? Not so much the Midlands anymore, but now they're focusing along the coast. And this is where the majority of the severe weather has shifted in just a 24-hour period. So that's what's going on with our severe threat. Now, here are the risks. Let me pull up the weather service, and I'll just pull this in here. It's on a different browser. Severe weather outlook. The threats are going to be damaging winds of gusts of 60 miles per or greater. That's going to be in straight line wind form. Hail, large hail, marginally severe hail, up to 1 inch. So that's higher than it was even yesterday. I had a feeling that would probably be added at some point with a higher diameter for hail. And then isolated tornadoes. So just because we don't see many south of Charleston or in the metro Charleston area doesn't mean they can't happen. We're not immune to them, but they mainly happen to our west along the Walterboro and I-95 corridor and up across towards Bulls Bay and up Grand Strand. So the I-95 corridor being the main area just to the east of I-95 is where a lot of the tornadic activity occurs, but not limited to those areas. Okay, so with that said, I think everybody understands the severe threat. I just wanted to kind of point out, if you're going to be motoring up tomorrow, just know your risks, know what you're going to be going into. You could be possibly going into something like this early morning, and then even if you wait till 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, you may be heading out into something like this. So, you know, it's your call whether or not you want to go during that or after. We can always look at radar and see what's happening in the morning. That's what I would recommend doing. Maybe if you can look at tropicaltidbits.com actually has the mesoscale at HRRR. This is, you know, it's a free product here. The other one I showed is a paid membership, but this one actually is a free product. You can kind of see by the time you wake up in the morning, I would take a look at this one right here. This is a good one. I don't have the RAP, but it is a good model nonetheless for you to take a good look. All right, that said, let's go into Sunday. Okay, I'm just gonna pick a spot here. I'm gonna pick South Folly because it's a good point of reference. And available models. We run Sunday. Looks like winds are going to start out west-northwest early. I mean, we're going to be in that 12 to 16 knot range, and then we're going to be reaching 13 to 17 knots for Sunday from the west-northwest. So more about 280, 290 degree range of wind, maybe even 300. If it veers a little bit more northwesterly, we could be looking at a 300 degree wind. But I think for the most part, this is going to be pretty consistent. You know, 13 to 17 knots for much of the day. There is potential for 15 to 19 or even 16 to 20. You may see some 20 knot gusts well offshore. So if you're out 5 to 10 nautical miles out, you may see some stronger gusting out there. The other good thing for Sunday is that the Nearshore Wave Prediction Center, I'm just picking buoy 41076, which is 18 miles out. Let's look at the forecast for that. You know, the seas are going to be growing. So even tomorrow is higher. I talked about 4 to 5 feet. Now the forecast is going up to 6 feet. So another reason why there's just so much risk out there offshore with the storms and the swell heights. You have a east swell with a south cut over, and it just gets gnarly. Your period, gets short. The peak period is only going to be 6 or 7 seconds down from 8 seconds where it was before. And then we're already almost at 6 feet on significant wave height. The swell height is actually about 2 to 3, but with significant wave height, we're starting to see these numbers go up. So I suspect that will be up in this range tomorrow. But as we get into Sunday, we see that coming back down. And I think we'll probably, especially if you get closer to shore, we'll see that swell come down to 3 feet. 4 feet's a little high, but as we get through the day, it drops off through the day. And I think, for 310, we're going to be looking at that 4 foot range tops if you're, 18 miles out. So the closer you are in the shore, the less you're going to be dealing with, and that'll be good. So that looks like a wrap. We look at the Corn buoy right now, even out there, we see a significant wave height at 6.36 feet from the top here. Swell direction is east-southeast, and the swell period is near 10 seconds. But that's going to be shortening overnight, especially with that south cut coming across it. So uh, in short, Sunday is looking much better than tomorrow, and it's going to be a great day of racing. So I would suggest getting down there as safe as you can to Rockville. Enjoy the night, have your party and everything, and then enjoy a nice sail back to Charleston on Sunday. Things look really good. So, and that's going to be all, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see if Tim wants me to do one more video for tomorrow. Maybe I'll pop that up, or just give him a text, verbal update so he can make an announcement tomorrow at y'all's party. All right, everybody, have fun. Godspeed. Be careful if you're going to be motoring tomorrow. If you choose that, know the risks. And then, if anything, Godspeed and have a lot of fun on Sunday. That's going to be a beautiful day. It'll be nice and partly cloudy. We have a few cumulus clouds. Sunshine will be in the mid 70s, mid to upper 70s. It'll be nice. Okay, everybody. Thanks a lot. Take care.